Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Like a cop.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You are tuned into AfterBuzz TV for Black Jesus Season 2, episode number 10. This is titled Good for Nothing, and I am your host, Bamm Ericsen, and I would like to introduce my lovely panel member.
Hi, guys. It's your girl, Janiesha. Of course, you guys can follow me online, Janiesha_Miss VI.
All right. And so...
Like a cop car. Woo.
Okay, so this is the episode that we've all heard about, this big reception between Floyd and Bernadette, and there was a lot that happened, and so let's just break it down story by story. Okay, so the first thing is Fish is on, he's at his last end of his parole, and so they go to the city of LA. I'm assuming probably if you're in LA, this is downtown LA, like on Hill Street. And so they go into the building, and he needs to go and check into a machine. I don't know anything about parole, and I would assume you don't either.
No.
But he went to check in via an ATM machine.
That's what I'm saying. Anyone can do that, right? It's a weird process. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we find out that he's been doing this for an extra 2 years.
Yeah.
So I'm like, there's nothing in the system that tells you?
Right. And on top of that, aren't you supposed to have a meeting periodically with your parole officer? With your parole officer. And then so when he goes to the ATM machine, he has some questions that he has to answer.
Yep.
And I wrote the questions down. Question number 1. Have you been arrested in the last month?
Yes or no?
Yes or no? Wouldn't the parole officer know that?
Exactly.
And the second question was, have you moved since your last probation meeting? So he does have meetings. There was a discrepancy, but I think maybe the point of that was to show how
odd the system is?
How odd the system is, and how certain things just does not work.
Well, I am curious to know if maybe after that 3 years that he was on probation, that maybe it changed and he was just checking into the system, and that's probably why it were just those two weird questions. Because I find that if you are on parole, it'd be a little more extensive,
Yeah.
Just not, did you move? Were you arrested?
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking that maybe because he's been gone and he was off of parole, that's probably why it was such a simple process. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. But then also, when you're on parole and you have meetings, being that they asked him, have you moved since the last meeting? I would assume that you would have to take annual, biannual, monthly, bi-monthly piss tests.
Exactly.
So it didn't make sense to me, but it made for a very funny scene.
It sure did.
And so when he filled out all the questions, and of course all of the answers were in favor of him to be released, then it says please see attendant, and he has to go see the attendant within 48 hours. And so Booney says that now he's probably gonna have to take a piss test. And so they're like, gosh, what, you have to take a piss test for just smoking weed? Like, what's the big deal?
Not to mention that Booney doesn't help by adding that his cousin went to jail for failing his piss test 4 years because he failed his piss test. And then Jason says, wait, 4 years for smoking effing weed? Like, I mean, I get it too.
Yeah, and totally, because with what's going on right now, it seems to be pretty minute and to go to jail for smoking marijuana.
Yeah, it's of all the things. It's kind of like, really.
So Booney has this great idea. I know exactly how we're going to pass the piss test.
You're going to flush it out.
You're going to flush it out by drinking gallons and gallons of water.
Does that really work?
No.
Well, you see,
Maggie said that does not work. But again, because these are broke idiots who don't know anything, all you have to do is Google. There's the myth of drinking cranberry juice.
There's a couple things. I mean, in the islands, not to put anybody on blast, but in the islands, I know there are places that you can actually go and buy like a drink mix or something that is known to help you to pass your piss test.
Yeah, I know there was a place on Ventura and Laurel Canyon over by the McDonald's here in LA. I don't know if it's still there, but there was a store, like a health store that you can take where you can actually purchase. It came in a box where you can purchase to clean your system, to rid the marijuana from your system. So again, it just shows that a
little Google,
a little Google can take you very far for them not to realize that. Why don't you just drink cranberry juice or do something? But Fish really wants Jesus or Pops to just help him out. To just help him out.
Which, I mean, and that's like a real life situation. We all kind of just want that easy solution. And I guess the whole underlying point of that was that he has to, face the music. You did this, own up to it, take responsibility. And I think that was the biggest theme this time. Taking responsibility for your actions. So, I mean, I like that it worked in his favor for Fish, of course. But, he had to take that step. So
I agree. And then let's go finally to the big meeting. So at first he wants to run away. He wants to just run away, and he's packing his things. And the odd thing for me, which I thought was funny, was when he asked Jason to pass him his Destiny's Child CD.
That was hilarious. Wait, let's take it back a second.
Yeah.
What did he have in his hand when he opened the door? That wasn't a real gun, right? Was that like a paint gun or
that's
something?
His because he's on probation, he can't have a real gun. It's
like a fishing gun.
It's like a fish gun / water mosquito gun or something. It's his own version of a gun to protect himself.
Okay, smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that Destiny's Child CD kind of just shows you his sensitive side. You know. But Destiny's Child's album is amazing regardless. So
so I thought that was interesting. And so now the meeting. What did you think about the meeting? I thought it was hilarious how I forget the name of the actor. He's done a lot of stuff. I forget the actor's name.
I've seen his face. I don't know his name either. But I just like how he was just sitting back like, wait, you really, how stupid are you that you really didn't know that your probation was only 3 years because you can't read? And I like that it was funny to me that he poked fun of the fact that most black people don't they say most black people don't read. So
I think in general, men tend to not read fully, instructions, the fine print. They kind of browse over things. And
so I mean,
which I'm guilty of.
I mean, I'm guilty of that too. I think everyone is. But who wants to read fine print? Nobody does.
But I think, and again, an underlying message is, now I'm going to get biblical, but my pastor in San Francisco, he used to do sermons where he used to say, read the book. If you read the book for yourself, then you know what it is that you're getting yourself into.
Exactly.
So a lot of times then people, my elders and so forth would say when I wouldn't want to do something, bam, read the book.
Read the book.
Read.
Yeah.
And so if you read for yourself, you won't have any confusion.
Exactly.
And so I think that was really the point, was read.
Good message. I mean, seriously, I find that some of the most important things are in the fine print, and you only find out after the fact, as we saw here with Fish. If he had read the fine print, he would have known he was only on probation for 3 years. That's some valuable information, you know?
And the fact that it said that your probation is a maximum up to 5 years. Yeah. But then again, also, if he was going to his parole meetings,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, we're totally dissecting this, but if he was going to his meetings, would he have known
He
that?
should have known.
Yeah.
I mean, but then again, do any of us, like, what is the real procedure? So, you know, I don't really know what happens. But in most cases, I know that people have meetings with parole officers, like you
Yeah.
say. And, you know, they have to take those annual tests. So I'm curious to know as to why he didn't know.
And the actor's name is Noel Jalimi.
Okay.
And he's
hilarious,
he's been a lot of stuff. But,
Yeah.
So I thought, you know, so he's released. He's off parole, and Black Jesus, I feel he really knew about it, but
Yeah.
he was obviously, you know, testing to make sure that Fish, you know,
Face the music.
face the music.
Yep.
Let's go to Jason and Diane. So they're back together.
Yes. And that was the scene. That was the scene we were talking about the entire time.
That's the scene.
Yep.
And so that's the scene, and you know everything seems to be good. So now they're in a good place. They're in bed, obviously, probably spent the night over,
Yep.
and they were just waking up or something, and they were getting ready to start round 2, round 3, round 4, whatever it was. And so they're back. Now they get this phone call. So question to you is, when she got the phone call, the people that she wants to put in jail because they're weed heads, and because they don't have jobs, and you know, not paying child support.
It sounds like all his friends. That's
Yeah.
what,
So do you think Diane is trying to put away Jason's friends?
I don't know. I don't know if you realize my first
Yeah.
question to you was, wait, is it the boys? Did she get the boys arrested? You know? No, I don't know. I think maybe it's more so of what the reality of the community is. I guess maybe there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
I think for Jason at that moment on his face, I think it was a reminder of like, yo, that sounds like my boys, you know? And so that's why I think he was like, I can't do this if you're going to be a cop. That's just what I got from it. So
But okay, so then my question is this: didn't you know that already?
exactly. But I mean, she's a good girl and she's cute. So you know,
She is a good girl and she is cute and she's all those things. But if it's not right, it's not right. For me, because Jason seems to be the smart one out of the disciples of
Yep.
Black Jesus. Dude, you already knew that.
I don't know. Like, I find that that's a real situation too, because you know how they say good girls like bad guys, or
Yeah.
like, you know. So I feel like a lot of girls are in relationships like that, you
Yeah.
know, where the guy may not be not be doing what he should be doing. He's not grown up. He hasn't got his stuff together. He's hanging his boys. All of them are up to no good half the time. But again, you know, you want to, like, that is kind of like where you want to be. And that's where you see yourself when you grow up.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily want to miss that opportunity. So you're here right now, but you're not here right now, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I just think maybe like he knows what his situation is. And I think the reality of for him maybe is that he's not ready to let that go. And
Yeah.
so he's hoping that. But I don't think it's fair that he would tell Diane that she has to let go of her job.
Yeah.
You know, especially that's something she's passionate about, that's something she's worked hard for. And what are you bringing to the table that you have the nerve to tell her that she can't be a cop?
Yeah. Or he's not actually saying that you can't be a cop. He's just saying that we can't be together because you're a cop and you are not. I'm afraid that you're gonna, you know, put my friends away.
Oh, put me away.
Which means his friends is more important than the relationship. Do you
Yeah.
agree, or do you think?
I think where he is right now,
Yeah.
yeah. Because he obviously isn't ready to make the changes. And I think we see it later when Jesus tells him, like, listen, you got yourself a good girl. She's the only one keeping it real with you.
Yeah.
You know, you need to get your life right. We all do. And so I just think maybe I find like I don't want to go too deep into that because, you know, I've had like similar situations in the past, but where, you know, you have a good girl that's trying to bring her guy up to speed.
Yeah.
And it comes off a little motherly, like smothering and motherly. And so nobody really wants to be with somebody that comes off as a mother to them. At the same time, you know that the quality of girl you have, you're not really ready to let that go too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he loves her. I know that much. He's obviously not ready to grow up yet. So, you know.
I'm gonna just be very blunt. They shouldn't be together.
Bad mix is a bad match.
It's a bad match because neither one is willing to change. And so now let's go to Black Jesus and Diane, because Diane is pissed that Jason broke up with her before they're even officially back together.
Yeah.
She's pissed.
Of course.
Because she's like, what does this have to do with anything? We lived together before, blah, blah, blah. And so Black Jesus says, what have you done to invite yourself to Jason's
into his life,
into his life and to his friends. You've never once hung out with him. So I think Black Jesus makes a good point.
I think so too.
I think she's never made she's never took the opportunity to go and to meet his friends because
but she thinks she's better than them.
She does, but you know, I think also I think no matter how high educated or how lack of education. There are good things about everyone, and you can always find something. And I think if she would have allowed herself to hang out with him, she would realize that, you know, Maggie's a good friend.
Yeah.
Maybe they could be friends because she doesn't seem to have
really
any friends.
Sweet.
And she's really sweet.
Yeah.
Booney's funny, and Booney's kind of like the flirt or whatever. I'm not sure if she would have anything in common with Fish, but then there's Black Jesus. So she should have allowed herself to
at least get to know them.
To get to know them. We're gonna get to the final party scene. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Let's get to Lloyd and Bernadette and Vic.
Messy.
Woo. So she's back.
Yep.
She's back.
We knew she was coming too.
We knew she was coming. Bernadette is played by the Bernadette Stanis, who played Thelma on Good Times, which is an iconic show. She's an iconic. That was an iconic
she
character.
Looking good too.
and she looked great.
Yeah.
So she's back. And Jesus brings Bernadette to the door, and she comes in. And what I find interesting was Vic was doing push-ups, right? So he's doing push-ups, and it seems as if he was doing push-ups to some like spiritual old Thomas Dorsey, Mahalia, like that real old school gospel music. He was doing push-ups to that. I found to be
He's
interesting.
a soulful dude.
Yeah. It's very, very old school, soulful dude. And so now Bernadette wants to get the divorce after 10 years. Do you find that to be odd that she wants a divorce after 10 years?
All of a sudden.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, Miss Bernadette's a freak.
Yeah.
she obviously has like, I don't know what, crazy sexual energy or what, but she's out there to get some. So... but I don't know. I do think she's up to something.
Yeah.
And, we've always felt that, but I don't know what. I'm still trying to figure it out because she's obviously playing with Vic. She's, you know, going back and forth with Lloyd and Vic, and like, I still don't understand why Vic hasn't said something up to now.
I don't either. I'm unsure about her character. I don't know if she's crazy.
I mean, Jesus said it. Jesus said Lloyd and Bernadette are crazy. They're like, I mean, and so far it looks that way too.
Yeah, so she wants to get the divorce, and so then they go, and Lloyd's like, all right, cool, let's do it. Let's celebrate. Let's pull out the dabby. And he unfortunately passes out and gets drunk.
Mind you, with Cheetos. Did you see the Cheetos?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible. But anyway.
Right, and he passes out, and then Vic and Bernadette are on the sofa.
Made it to the bed.
And so now they smash.
Apparently it wasn't enough because she got up and got on Lloyd.
She did. So the next morning, which I thought to be hilarious. What I really like about season 2 with Black Jesus is Darby has become a character within the show.
It sure has. It was everywhere. It's like a real brand now.
It's really, it's like a real brand.
Yep.
And so when they get up in the morning, and this is where you can really tell that their relationship as friends, best friends, have truly evolved. They're in the kitchen. Vic is on one side of the kitchen making his coffee or doing what he's doing. Lloyd is on the other side of the kitchen in his holy shirt that he wears every day.
Dirty undies.
And his dirty undies. Eating cereal. Did you notice the cereal?
Yes. Oh, man.
So in the cereal, he has the Fruit Loops, he has milk, and then he pours Darby.
Oh, I missed that.
Yes, he pours Darby
Wow.
on top of the cereal and milk.
I see. Darby with everything.
That is a drink. That is one drinking man.
That is a mess. That's what that is.
Can you imagine? I don't think I've known anyone to mix alcohol in their cereal and milk.
Ooh, that's just nasty. I'm sorry. But I mean, look at Lloyd though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I what I found most hilarious about that scene was his reenactment of the night with Bernadette. Whoa.
Right. So Vic is obviously. Do you think at that moment before Lloyd said what we're about to discuss in a second? Do you think that Vic
was gonna say something? I think so.
Yeah.
I think he came out with his chest puffed up like, yeah, you know what? This is a new day. You and her are getting a divorce. I don't feel bad about this. We're gonna be together. I think this is what Vic has in his mind.
Yeah.
And I think Lloyd just kind of crushes all of that without knowing it, you know? And of course him reenacting, he even got really upset when Lloyd put his foot up on the thing and was like what did he say? He hit it with the Lil Wayne?
Yeah, the first thing he said, he was like, whoo, me and Bernadette, we got it in. And Vic is like, well, you know, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then he starts reenacting how he starts humping the oven door. Then he walks over to the living room and he says he used that Lil Wayne move
with the foot on it. Oh my god. Yeah, no. I couldn't picture it with the
What's your take on Bernadette sleeping with Vic all night, then gets up in the morning and then has sex with...
I have hair, for lack of better words. Yeah. She is a hoe with a bunch of E's, okay? Yeah, she's a hoe. What is that? You're smashing two best friends. Mind you, one's your husband, not even ex-husband yet. And so you're committing adultery and you're screwing two guys in the same night.
But remember, she doesn't consider it adultery because she says no one really believes in hell.
It doesn't matter. She's a hoe to me.
Yeah.
You know, that's just nasty. I'm sorry. You know, that's just nasty. What is your take, Bamm?
It's beyond nasty.
Thank you.
It's really hard to digest.
It's like stomach. Did you not hear Vic in the bathroom throwing up? That is gross. That's just beyond nasty.
Which Lloyd said, I will make you a thing of Pepto-Bismol mixed with Dabe. Yeah, I'm really unsure with this Bernadette character. She's
a loose one, Lucy.
But I think it expands beyond just being loose because the way she's flipping back. So then let's expand with this. So
wait, I'm curious to think if she's just out to sort of, I don't know, maybe I don't want to say destroy Lloyd's life, or maybe just like maybe she's jealous of the relationship that Vic and Lloyd have. But my thing is where did she just kind of pop up out of nowhere?
Yeah.
You know, but she's obviously trying to destroy that, you know?
I don't know if she's trying to destroy that because I don't think she thinks Lloyd cares.
Okay.
Vic is the one who's worried, but I don't think she thinks that Lloyd cares.
I think he does, but he clearly doesn't know what's going on. I don't think he wants to be with her.
No, he does not want to be with her.
I don't think so, of course, but I also think that if he knew his best friend was over here smashing his ex-wife, well, soon-to-be ex-wife, which he almost, he renews vows with her.
Yeah.
It's just weird. By the way, let's talk about that jacket.
Yeah. But wait, before we talk about that, so Bernadette and Lloyd were supposed to have a meeting to sign the divorce
papers.
But then Vic and Bernadette are at what looked like the McDonald's parking lot.
I thought it was Carl's or something.
it looked like McDonald's somewhere like off of Crenshaw and somewhere.
I haven't wondered those parts too much. So.
Yeah, it looked like a McDonald's drive-through, but they're talking, and Vic wants to marry Bernadette,
which I found to be totally bizarre because first of all, she just matched you and Lloyd in the same night, which is again the grossest thing ever.
Yeah.
And your reaction to that is let's get married. Is that realistic for a guy? Like
this is gonna come off a certain way.
Is that pride? That's male ego right there.
No. Do you think this is an old person's thing?
That you don't want to be alone?
Yeah.
I think old people go through a different process. Yes, I think at that point, like your pickings are very slim.
Yeah.
You know, and you just don't want to be lonely.
Or maybe they don't care.
They don't care?
He cares because he was bothered by the fact that Bernadette did have sex with Lloyd after him.
Exactly.
But then he still was willing to marry her after he gets divorced. So on one side, he's somewhat conflicted, but on the other side, he's like, he wants to marry her.
So I don't know. He even goes as far as saying he loves her. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, whoa, where did this come from? You know? I think it's more of an ego thing. I find that, and this, we might be kind of like going off topic, but I find that most men only want something that is not necessarily attainable or is more so of a chase or like a competition for them. I don't know. You could correct me if I'm wrong.
Sometimes, but a man of Vic's particular age,
Yeah.
what competition is he in?
I mean, with Lloyd, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I just find that he just brought on all this emotion out of nowhere because.
And now that I think comes from being lonely.
Okay.
And sexually lonely and not having any sexual companionship.
So are you saying that Bernadette got the good is what you're saying? Okay, go ahead.
I think in Vic's mind, him marrying Lloyd's ex-wife, who Lloyd doesn't want to have anything to do with, him marrying Bernadette, and Vic and Lloyd being his best friend is all he needs in this world. If he can have his best friend.
Wait, are we hearing this? Because I want to know, is that in real life? Because this is obviously not real life.
I mean, listen, if which one of the Jermaine on the Jacksons, one of the Jacksons got with one of the other brothers' wives.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I believe it was Jermaine and Randy.
I'm sorry.
Or Marlon.
I just think friends and families, like exes, significant others, are like totally off limits. That's always been like my rule in my mind. So I'm curious to know if other people feel that way. Like, do you think that that's an okay situation as a guy? Do you think that Lloyd and Vic's situation is an okay situation with him thinking that it's okay for him to marry his best friend's ex-wife?
No, it's absolutely wrong. But I'm trying to rationalize it because he's older.
Okay.
He doesn't have any female companionship.
Okay.
And the only woman that he's talked to ever since season 1, this is the only woman. And I guess when you get older, you can lower your, I don't want to say lower your standards, but you're not as shallow.
Okay.
You know,
You're not as picky.
you don't need the dime piece. As long as you have a woman that you like and she likes you and so forth,
Yeah.
and you're happy, the sex is good, and you have companionship, what else do you need?
True. But still, that's your best friend's ex.
It's
Like,
very weird.
That's so messy.
It's very weird and it's very messy. But as Black Jesus said, Lloyd and Bernadette's situation is very weird. And so when Vic was conflicted about it, and as he was praying, Black Jesus comes to him, and he tries to play the whole thing like it's his friend.
Like a friend, yeah.
And Black Jesus says to him, "You need to remove yourself from the situation." Why is it so difficult for Vic to remove himself from the situation?
I don't know. Well, first of all, the situation is in his home.
Yeah.
So they need to move out. Everybody got to go.
Yeah.
Aside from that, I guess the temptation of sex of a woman,
Yeah.
you know, it's very hard. Like you said, he's at an older age.
Yeah.
There's no other companionship he's had. You know, Lloyd is living in his home. Bernadette is always there.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I see why he would be tempted to keep going. You know, and she obviously she has a way with words. You know,
Yeah.
it's okay. Don't feel guilty. You shouldn't feel guilty. We're about to sign divorce papers. But I like how then after she takes his ring, she decides which by the way, why does she give Lloyd the ring that Vic gives her? Like,
Again, I can't. I don't know if
she's missing a few screws. I'm sorry. she has to be.
I don't get her, and I don't really know what to say. I don't want to just say she's a hoe, but
I'll say
maybe
she's a hoe.
maybe simply, I'm just gonna go there. Maybe she simply don't give a fuck.
There we go. Maybe that's what it is. I just think I don't know. Maybe I think she's up to something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what. I'm curious to know if we'll find out in this last episode. But I will say I do like that when Jesus comes and catches them. By the way, where did that flashlight come from?
That's him. That was
that inner glow. Yeah. Okay.
And so Lloyd says, we're not getting divorced. We are going to have we're going to renew our vows. And so now let's go into the big party. The big party. Before we go back to the Lloyd and Bernadette, now let's go to Fish. So Fish shows up to the party. He wants to, have his little last hurrah with the fellas. That was cool, I thought.
Yep.
But then Diane comes to the party. Turned up.
All the way.
Question for you.
Yes.
Since we were discussing friends, the boundaries, the limits, should Booney get his ass beat for dancing inappropriately with Jason's girl?
I think with all the liquor and smoking involved, everyone kind of got a little loose in them. But I think he should get his butt beat for saying, "Oh, our bitch." He called Diane our. No, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So I have a problem with that. I do think that they saw that she was getting real turned, and I think they took advantage of the situation a little bit. But Jason didn't say anything. I found that to be so surprising.
Yeah.
And that's the second time I think we didn't get a real reaction out of him. Because taking it back to when she was with
Hits from the Street.
Yep. Yeah. With the stuff in the street with Lloyd. No real reaction there.
Yeah.
And then this time you're just kinda like, okay, what's going on? But no real reaction. If I was a guy, somebody was getting their butt beat. And Booney's just kind of like, whoa, like he doesn't care. I don't know. That's a weird situation for me.
It is, and Antoine was supposed to be here, and I wish he was, because I would ask, why was there not a real reaction? I thought that
maybe he doesn't want to be like maybe he doesn't really doesn't care about her. But I don't think so. I don't think so.
I'm gonna say, Booney should have got his ass beat.
He should have got his ass beat.
He should have got his ass beat. And although it's a part of his character and who he is, he still needs to get punched right in the face for what he did because it's inappropriate.
Breaking guy code. Yep.
And then I think it would have been nice if maybe Maggie
was like, "Girl, hold it down," pulled her away.
I
agree. Even Trayvon was just kind of just watching like.
Yeah.
Like everybody was watching like, this is weird.
But then again, I'm gonna then speak on the other side of that. The woman who they all know Jason's girlfriend is his mean bitch. They want to who's always packing. So they in fact want to see her turn up and embarrass her. And I'm surprised that they didn't actually video with their phone.
I just think maybe they were a little in shock. You think they were trying to embarrass? I think they were just kind of like.
I think they were. They were shocked. It's kind of one of those things. Like I think we've all been to parties and so forth where we see someone acting uncharacteristic and we're just looking at
like, dang,
and we're just kind of shaking our head, just yeah.
Wait till Jason gets here. I mean, you're right. It's the truth. I do wish that Maggie did pull her to say, like, girl, what you doing? But again, nobody's ever seen Diane turn up. They're not really her friends at the end of the day yet. Yeah. So I guess maybe nobody felt a moral responsibility to pull her to the side and be like, girl, you better get yourself together. Take a seat.
Before we go to the moral of that story, another problem that I have with Jason is how his lack of affection when she was being carried out.
He's just kind of dragging her.
Okay, Valencia, the actress who plays Diane, she ain't but this big. So you can't
pick your girl up. You can't
pick your I just felt like, why couldn't you just pick her up?
Not only that, he looked like he was bothered. That's why I'm asking myself, does he really care about this girl the way he says, And I think he does, but then I think too maybe he has a lot of resentment towards her. Resentment in the sense that, she's always telling him to grow up. She shows up at this party and then now she's embarrassing him, shooting speakers and getting drunk and wasted and dancing on Booney. So maybe he's just kind of over her.
Or I'm going to change my mind what I just said. I think that now going into what we're going to discuss, I think the words that she said affected him. And he was probably more so into his feelings about what she said. What she said was this.
Wait, I got to hear it too.
Okay, you got to go ahead.
Wait. Okay, she said, you talking about the first part when she was like, you're no good, jobless, brainwashing, some bitch?
Yeah, and You get drunk, you get high, and you know she's like, I'm doing what you guys are doing. You guys get drunk, you get high, and you get away with things.
Yeah.
And then she was like, I don't want to live in a food truck. You need to get your shit together and you need to get jobs.
Please don't make me live in a food truck. No.
What did you think about that statement?
I think it was a real statement. Like, I think all of them needed to hear it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think Jesus is the only one that agrees with her. You know, it's one of those like harsh realities. Someone who cares enough to tell you about yourself.
Yeah.
At the same time, you don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
You know. So again, that's where I was telling you earlier. It comes off very motherly, like you're talking down to someone, and nobody really wants to deal with that. You know, especially guys. Guys don't want to hear that from a girl. You know, like no, because then it makes them feel belittled. You know.
Do you think she got drunk on purpose?
I think she was emotionally, she's in a rough spot.
Yeah.
And sometimes the liquor makes you feel good, you know? It makes you forget about things, but it also brings that emotion back, you know? And so I myself am guilty of that. I've had situations where maybe, you know, a little drink, a little going out partying to try and get things off your mind. It doesn't end well.
And mind you, that's probably why she wanted to avoid the derby when Lloyd was trying to get her to drink the derby.
Lloyd was like, "Come, let me show you, girl."
Yeah.
Threw it down. Yeah, no, she should have stayed away from the derby. The last time she had derby, terrible experience.
Terrible experience.
She just needs to stay away from the derby.
Yeah.
No derby for you. Yeah, I think so too.
But it was a great moral story for them that they all need to get their stuff together. Black Jesus also co-signed on it as well. He was like, you guys need to get your shit together. And then Fish was like, well, you need to get yours together too.
He was like, yeah, I think he agrees, but then he pulls out the blunt.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think that he did also tell Jason something very important. Like, she's a good girl, and you need to realize that she's the only one that cares enough to tell you the truth about yourself.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping those words get to Jason, because for my prediction, I'll tell you later. You know, it has something to do with that. Yeah. The series acting up.
I'm not sure I understand.
Yeah.
We don't understand either, Siri.
Right. And then the other story for the reception was Lloyd and Bernadette weren't even together. They didn't dance.
Nope.
She was on the phone trying to call Vic.
Yep.
And then she go outside. She sees him. He's drinking. Why are they renewing their vows again?
I think Lloyd just wants Darby.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, let's talk about that jacket. Okay.
Yeah.
Why did his jacket have all those holes? Where did he find his jacket with all those holes in it?
No, I was gonna say, well, maybe the jacket was from. Maybe it's no, it's not Vic's, because Vic gets his suits tailor-made. Which
Jesus said your tailor don't like you.
Your tailor don't like you because them suits are clearly not tailor-made.
No, they're huge.
Yeah,
Lloyd I think it was just funny for them to kind of give him a jacket with all those holes in it.
Yeah.
But, you know.
It was true to his character.
Definitely.
And so reception, party. She goes outside and she talks to Vic. Vic is pissed about the situation.
I love you, Bernadette.
And now Black Jesus catches the two of them making out in the car.
Getting it in.
Getting it in.
Yep.
And he then shines his lights.
Inner lights.
And catches them.
Yeah.
Letting them know that, what did he say? He says...
Is that how you take responsibility? I think he says. Yeah, and then it's kind of like, how are you two doing this? You need to stay away from her. Like,
yeah,
you know?
Black Jesus says you're ruining their friendship.
And it's the truth. She is. Well, she isn't yet. We're gonna get into that for predictions too. But for at least on Vic's side, because now he's feeling guilty. I'm sure he has all these weird feelings towards Lloyd, and with all of this going on, like it's obviously a weird situation, and Bernadette doesn't care. Like,
no, not
she
at all.
Doesn't care. So I don't know. It's messy. It's too messy for me.
It is. And after Black Jesus kind of reads her, then Lloyd comes by drinking, not paying attention, not what's going on.
Doesn't care.
She says the divorce is back on. He was like, okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go take a piss.
Yeah.
Lloyd doesn't want to be with her. I just think it's one of those situations where whatever sounds right at the time, Lloyd's with it. So yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Any other final comments?
I think that, let's see here. Well, I think I have some good predictions tonight.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that.
So before we go into predictions, I have some news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So, Callie Hawk, who plays the character of Maggie, she is in a new movie. The trailer was just released on social media 2 days ago. It's called 50 Shades of Black.
You know who else is in that movie? King Bach.
King Bach, and it stars Marlon Wayans, who is like the king of what do you call these spoofs?
Yeah.
And I'm looking it up right now. I wanna see when it comes out, but I know it comes out in the winter.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah. What did you think? Have you seen that trailer?
I haven't, but I've been seeing because I follow of course Batch and Afian Crockett, I believe, is in the film as well. And so they've been posting little pictures here and there, and just to know who the cast is. It's bound to be hilarious, seriously, because they're all pretty funny on their own. So to bring all of them together in the same room has to be crazy.
Agree. I know it comes out. It comes out January 29, 2016, and it stars Marlon Wayans, Callie Hawk, and King Bach, Andrew Bachelor. Who else is listed in here? The cast. Marlon Wayans, Callie Hawk, Jane Seymour, Fred Willard, Mike Epps, Avion Crockett, and Kate Miner. Just to name a few.
That's some serious names are there.
Yeah, so January 26, 2016, I will absolutely be going to watch this.
I'll be right there with you, man. Yeah.
Okay, so now let's go into predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, and what's your prediction?
First of all, this music makes you want to do an evil laugh every time I hear
it's like, ooh.
Yeah, all right. All right, so I have a couple predictions. I still think Lloyd and Vic are going to have a huge blowout. That hasn't happened yet, but I see it kind of happening because it's going to hit that situation with Bernadette and Vic is going to hit the fan, and I think he's going to find out. And his reaction is going to be pretty weird, but I think they'll be okay. I think they'll mend their fences. I do also think that I feel like there's going to be a wedding. Is there supposed to be a wedding coming up? Or is that the reception scene tonight?
I believe it was a reception, and next week is supposed to be the big Christmas episode.
Okay, so they're not
which is also the finale.
Okay, so I do feel maybe everybody's gonna get their life together. I think maybe Jason and Diane are gonna get their life together. They might end up being together, and actually him growing up as in getting a job and all this stuff. That's what I think is gonna happen. So I don't know. I think that Jesus's words and Diane's words are gonna get to everyone, and so everyone's gonna start making those little adjustments to their life to get their life right. That's what I think.
I just made this prediction up. I think since this is gonna be a Christmas episode, I think maybe Jason will propose to Diane, and maybe there'll be a nice Christmas wedding.
I have married her,
and Black Jesus officiates.
Is that illegal?
or maybe Miss Tootie.
Miss Tootie, or the pastor.
Yeah, or Reverend Cleveland.
Yep, there you go.
So that's what I'm thinking is something with Jason Diane.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna have one of these messages have to come through, and I think. With Jesus putting that emphasis, she's a good girl.
Yeah.
I really do see them getting back together, officially. And if that means, a proposal or a wedding, yeah, I could see that happening.
All right. Well, that is it for now. So let us let everyone know where you can be found on social media.
Guys, you can find me on all social media, Janiesha_Miss VI.
And you can find me on all social media at Bamm Ericsen, and we want to thank you guys for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV for Black Jesus Season 2. Next week will be the finale, and it's the finale finale recap you do not want to miss.
Don't
as our
miss it.
Special guest, Mr. Black Jesus himself, Mr. Slink Johnson, will be back in the AfterBuzz building for the finale. So make sure you guys check us out next week for the finale, Black Jesus Season 2 on AfterBuzz TV. Thank you guys for watching. Later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.